I'm Van.
I'm Sori.
That's Lavi.
Salty and Chip.
This is what they call a labor of love, is what they say.
Wow.
This is probably the most requested Fireside song.
Well,
Anytime we get on Fireside.
This is, never mind, I can't say that.
We did, what, are you going to make some comment about Floor?
No.
You're a terrible human.
Forget about it.
We definitely had to get this song in because it was requested and
yeah,
we
want to make sure
it's very important that it gets done. Okay, so this is Nightwish, the greatest show on earth.
Shout out to Pony.
Sit back, get some popcorn,
Get
a beer or two,
pillow, depending on if you like them or not.
and sit back for the ride. I think it's going to be good. This is live at Tampere or whatever. It's in Finland. I don't think I'm pronouncing it properly. I'm sure we'll be connected soon enough. Corrected soon enough.
Yep.
Okay.
I was like, connected to what?
Go!
Go.
Go!
Oh, wait.
Okay, we're not going because somebody muted the volume.
Yeah, well, that's
okay. So full screen
my
it.
mom kept sending me messages.
Full screen. Okay, let's blame your mom and
Go.
That's the end of that song.
What?
That's the end of the song. This is the beginning.
Yes.
Koskettimet, Tuomas Holopainen.
Should I stop it?
No, that's fine.
It's fine.
I like that guy. He rocks out. He does. He's like, ah! He never, like, he's a metalhead. So is Flora, though. She does that windmill.
Aren't they all?
I don't know. The other girl wasn't really a metalhead.
It's that thing.
After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun? To work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it.
single one of your fathers died young. The 100 travelers out of Africa. Little Lucy of the A4. Give back to fantasy, to idolatry, to self-destructive weaponry, and turning out guns deeper than the past. The mystic dread of the hunted. Ionia, the cradle of thought, the architecture of understanding, the human lust to feel so exceptional, to rule the earth. Hunger for shiny rocks, for giant mushroom clouds, the world's of Lewiston being done by. Into history, the grand finale, enter of kind. Man, he took his time in the soul, and the dreams he understand a single grain of sand. He gave up to poetry, but one day ceased to be with the last night of the library. Jesus.
We are going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Sahara. Certainly those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. How dare we whine at our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred? There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.
That just makes you love human beings, right?
That's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love human beings.
Yeah, I know you do, but I don't always feel that same feeling.
Now, do you love human beings?
Well, watching that, you do, and it's seeing everybody say, what are they saying?
We were here.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was emotional.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, yeah, you are, and you're also special. And I'm sure there's people in that crowd that have, thought of suicide or planned it or are still, you know what I mean? Like, but you were here, like, this is a big, important thing. Like, you're born. Oh, that's so cute.
Well.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't understand all of the song, just what I got out of that part and what it meant to me. Because I was mostly watching what was happening. I didn't catch the lyrics.
Yeah, they're the human lust to feel so exceptional.
What?
Well, this is one of the things that this is one of the discussions that's happening, where we say, human beings were created in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah. And
the response to that is, no, you're just a regular being like everybody. You just have a lust to feel that you're like some exceptional thing outside of the cosmos, but you're really not. You're just like everything.
It's weird because I looked at it the opposite way.
You're just like
the
everything
lust
else.
to feel like you're important is evidence that there is something higher than what you believe, or
Well,
what you know.
Well,
They're saying the opposite.
well, yeah, they're just saying no. You're not creating the image of God. You're just an organism like anything else. You just wanna feel more important. But then at the end it says we were here. Well,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
so
big
was
deal.
a twig. so was helium. Like,
Yeah.
which is it? Are we
Yeah.
exceptional, and is it important that we were here, or is it? I'm not criticizing the song. I just think that view of the world is inherently self-stultifying, and will always, destroy itself, basically, ideologically speaking. Because I think it's beautiful that they ended the song saying we were here. But if I take the perspective of the previous verses of the song, that's not really very significant that we were here.
Right.
There's nothing exceptional about the fact that we were here. So were cockroaches. So were beetles. Why is that exceptional that we were here? Why is that important? Unless, of course, there's something very special about human beings that are different from twigs and cockroaches and beetles.
Right.
I was talking to Dirk yesterday, and I was saying, a lot of times when I have these conversations, I'm just going along with people because all of us know.
We're not a cockroach.
We all know.
Yeah.
People can say that there's no inherent value in human beings. They can say that, but when you catch them in unguarded moments, they say shit like, "We were here."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll just pretend with you that you really believe that there's nothing exceptional about us. I'll just go along with it. Man, what a beautiful song! This song was an epic song that was the first time I heard about this song was when we did the Avenged Sevenfold song. Remember the big long one?
Yeah.
And I think either it had the similar template, long epic song, and then at the end you had the atheist philosopher guy. They had I could never remember Neil deGrasse Tyson. And then at the end of this one, they had I'm pretty sure that was Dawkins, Richard Dawkins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty much the same template, but I think it's a brilliant idea.
What do you mean?
Why are you looking at me like that?
You think what's a brilliant idea? I'm confused because
I think the
songs-
song. I think it's a brilliant idea. Like, well, let's make this 15, 20-minute song.
Yeah. And
then and it's got to be long because you're trying to compress billions of years into a song. So 20 minutes is relatively long for a song, but if you're trying to do the entire
extremely
scope
short
of existence in the universe as they believe it, then yeah.
Oh, I see. For the first sunrise, yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're talking about eras and things like that. Like I think it's the Hadean though is the first one. Not the Archaean. But I might be wrong. What do I know?
Well, I have no clue.
These people believe that the universe has been around for billions and billions and billions of years.
Yeah.
So you've had these spans of eras that it took to get to this place. So there's this, the Archaean horizon would have been a very, very early era in the existence of everything.
It says the first sunrise.
Right. And what I'm saying is I'm not sure that that's accurate because
see.
remember what's the name of that band we interviewed, Periphery?
Yeah.
And he was talking about the Hadean seal. I know that, yeah, you probably don't remember that because we did that song 3 months ago, but he was talking about the Hadean seal, and that I'm pretty sure is the first.
That's where the first sunrise would be.
Aeon, not this one. I'm not sure, but who's counting? Interesting song. Yeah, really. What did you think the song was about?
Like I said, I didn't get much out of it, like lyric-wise. I was mostly watching like the production and stuff like that, and how like the last floor song that I saw, it seemed like it was only about her, and this one seemed like it was spread out more evenly between like the band members. And then it was like and then there was the fireworks in there, and then at the beginning, like they had that I don't know what instrument it is. Kind of sounds like some sort of a fluty sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then there was one that almost kind of sounded like a bagpipe. Those were really cool. Like I thought that the first one has such a lonely sound to it, you know, like, but very beautiful, like a clear moonlit night that's on the cooler side, you know, like kind of like has that, like, I don't know, it was a really, it was a very, very beautiful sound. And then the whole song, like as it played itself out, it actually like, it was 21 minutes, but it didn't feel like it was 21 minutes. And
no,
like,
it didn't feel 21 minutes.
You know, they really put on a good show, and I was thinking that must be so cool to like be at a show like that and be outside, and like how loud that must have to be for outside to be able to be loud. Because there's no walls for the sound to bounce off. So. Yeah. And then when they were making the fireworks go off at the same time, like, and I was like, who the fuck had to time that? You know what I mean? Because you can't just push the button. It's gonna be time for when it goes up and when it lets off, and the timing, and everybody like putting their minds and their artistic abilities together to bring this song together to make it the greatest show on earth, you know? And then like the screens behind, like, playing certain scenes, and like I loved the waves scene and stuff. Yeah. And then, you know, just watching everybody kind of like doing their thing. Like they had the guy on the keyboard, which you're right, he was really good. Like, and when I don't understand how somebody can rock out while they're doing that. Like, how can you know that you're not gonna fuck up the notes when you're like going everywhere, you know? Yeah. And so he was doing his thing, and then Floor was doing her thing. Like she's like you said, like she's a stage person. Like there's some people that like they're there and they're like doing it because that's what they're supposed to do, and there's some people like Zoe, like it would just be you almost look like she walks around like it's her stage. You know what I mean? And so she was going around, and even though it wasn't like she wasn't the main focus, like she still put on her show like she was the main focus, and like everybody was just doing their parts. I thought it just was a really, really cool thing. And then looking at then when it like scanned out to the crowd, and like I said, when it was saying the part, like we were here, like just that, like human beings are so important, and we're so like complex and unique and unbelievable, but we miss all that and we lose all that. And I think sometimes it's because we can't see the details of like down to our molecules of like who we like are and how much goes into the making of a human being. But like the kids have to do like they're doing science and stuff, so I see different like random things, like, you know, probably stuff that everybody knows, but I've like kind of like forgot, but that your eyeball like takes a picture in, but it's upside down, and so your brain flips it the right way and then like creates a thing for you to like process what you're seeing, and like but we don't even realize that. We're just like, we're looking, you know? Yeah. And so like there's so many complexities and so much like coolness that God like put into us. And then like just seeing like all these people coming together because they loved the music, they loved everything that was going on, and then when they were all saying we were here, like it was cool because I was like picturing like, yeah, it's the same planet. Like sometimes I think like these rocks have been here since the beginning, you know what I mean? And like Jesus walked this earth, and like he walked in the dust of this ground that's still here, the dust is still here, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And so to think that like we all walk the same earth and generations of people go by, and I don't know if that's what they were talking about, like they said the Africa thing, and like your I thought it said something about your fathers died young.
We are the teachers of humanity. We're the original man. Take that, you Nazi bastards. This guy from Europe, he's like, I really enjoyed these reviews, especially when Blackie gets all philosophical and shit. Blackie? So it's a much love, man.
Okay.
Of course, I don't care about that shit. We're the original man, motherfucker. They talked about Lucy. I think Lucy
wasn't that
she's like the oldest,
the missing link or something like that?
No, she's like the oldest Homo sapien that we've.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just
all
happens
those things. To be African, bitches. Go ahead.
So just watching all those people saying that, and then like at the end, like the band members coming together and like putting their arms around each other, and everybody looked like they were smiling and happy and enjoyed the experience.
It's a beautiful accomplishment, Ola.
Yeah, and it wasn't like dark, like, you know, like some of those bands, like these the guy was like licking the pig's head eyeball and stuff like that. Like just like a dark, and it has a heavy feel to it.
Yeah.
Like Nightwish doesn't have that heavy feel. It has like that excited, happy feel. Like okay,
it's called
everybody's...
Nightwish. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, and then I feel like okay,
that's a perfect name for that band.
everybody's leaving. They're all going to meet up at restaurants to have the excitement of the night and talk about, you know, like, and just people loving other people and just valuing them. It just I just liked it, and it just had a very good feel. But again, like I don't know what we were really singing about. You know,
well, it's just a history of everything
of humanity, of the whole like existence.
Yeah, humanity is just a.
Now, what was he talking about when he said like tons of people are not like they'll never be born? Like, what's that?
That's Dawkins.
I know they're not talking about abortion.
Dawkins trying to no.
I know. That's what I'm saying. But it would fit.
That's Dawkins trying to combat the inevitable nihilism from his atheism. Now here come all the atheists. That has nothing to do with nihilism.
Well, what do you say? I don't even understand what you're saying.
I just know how to trigger atheists, and it's kind of fun.
How often do you do it just because you want the entertainment?
Well, I didn't know that like modern atheists were so sensitive.
I didn't either.
I didn't know that.
That is one thing I learned from this channel that was very surprising to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. I thought that they were like a pretty even keel, level-minded.
Well, they kind of project like, hey, all I do is think. I'm just a big brain.
Yeah, that they're not emotional.
I just process data. You know. But they're extremely emotional and very insecure.
I was very surprised.
Apparently in there. Of course, I didn't say all atheists. It's just a certain brand.
Doesn't matter. Everybody's going to say you said all atheists.
No, it's serious. Well, I have a very high regard for Nietzsche and Bertrand Russell. Uh-huh. And they were not defensive at all or you know, well, the reason is that they factored in the implications of their atheism and then try to construct a worldview around the implications. Uh-huh. But these new atheists, because they're not rooted in like any real, you know, research or understanding of the atheists before them.
Yeah.
They're just rooted in Dawkins and Sam Harris. Mm-hmm. So they don't know that this has been an ongoing conversation, and so some of the basic, you know, conversations that get had, they go, oh, this is a misunderstanding of atheism. No, motherfucker. It's the discussions that we've been having for hundreds of years, mm-hmm. actually, that you're obviously not familiar with. But. That being said, this is very, very eloquent, because what he's saying is we're going to die, and that makes us the lucky ones. Mm-hmm. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. Mm-hmm. The potential people who could have been born here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand and the grains of the Sahara. Certainly those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. Mm-hmm. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people in the world, basically.
Yeah, can you say that to me in another way? Because I got something really cool.
We were watching that thing. They did this thing, Albany Rose. I sent it to Albany Rose, the pro-life atheist girl, or she sent it to me. But it was basically conception and how conception works. Uh-huh. And then they blew up the sperm, like they blew up sperm to life-size people. Mm-hmm. And so you had these millions of people, and it was like this big race, and like the odds of like the sperm finally hitting the egg and you being that one and all the rest mm-hmm. of it are like astronomical. Yeah. So we have there's a capability for more people to be around. It's like a very, very
what are the chances it was
what are the odds that you made it out of ridiculous odds to exist. Right. So how could you complain that you're gonna die when the vast majority of people didn't even exist?
The very fact that you're gonna die means that you were born.
Right. Right. And that makes you you're lucky you're able to exist. Of course.
But why do they think they're lucky to exist? Just what's so great about existence?
Well, that's the next question is, okay, who cares if you existed? And what does that mean? There's no meaning behind it.
Man was born into trouble.
Where does that say?
It just came to my mind. I think that was something I read or heard
That's in the Proverbs. Man is born for trouble as the sparks fly upward.
Yes! So how can you say
you've won the lottery against all odds? How dare we wind up our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred? There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been originally breathed into few forms or into one, and that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. So it's just the grandeur of the universe and of existence and all this stuff. But the it's just very, very interesting to me that we had this conversation last week on our walk where we were talking about the struggle for meaning in existence is very interesting from an atheistic worldview.
Yep.
Because if I was an atheist, I wouldn't be offended that it leads to nihilism. Because you just said up here that we have a lust for exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And the implication is we're really not that exceptional. Well, if you're not that exceptional, then if somebody were to say, well, that view leads to nihilism, I'd say, so it's factual.
Yeah.
Who
I agree
cares?
with that.
People say, well, we can make up our own meaning. Well, sure, you can make up your own meaning. But then why are you going after people for believing in the flying spaghetti monster? People go, well, that view of the world has implications on politics. And your view of the world doesn't?
Come on, people.
Hello, everybody's view of the world has implications on politics and life. Well, I don't know, because the atheists, the very, very new atheists believe that, at least the ones in our village believe that atheism has no implications. I've heard that discussions a bunch of times.
I know. I don't understand how that.
But
I feel like everything has implications. Like, what doesn't have an implication?
well, we're talking about your grounding worldview.
Yeah.
We're talking about the lens by which you view everything else. You're going to say it doesn't have implications.
Alec just messaged you.
I know.
You having a hard time not to look?
No, I messaged him.
Yeah, I know, but he's
And
responding
we're
to you,
supposed
so.
to, how are you going to leave me on read? On read, I think it's I'm probably going to talk to him right after this, because he's supposed to tell me the evolution stuff.
I know. It has to be when I'm going to be there.
I was listening to that Biologos guy.
Yeah.
And so, well, a lot of these folks don't understand that there's a whole Christian tradition of people that believe in evolution, like, to the T,
Yeah.
as any other scientist would. So, Biologos, like, their entire thing is about that. There's this group that I listen to, Pixels and Papyrus. They did a really good takedown. I forgot that girl, the girl with the red hair, and she made the mistake of doing all the zeitgeist stuff.
Oh, she did.
Saying, yeah, and they just blitzed her. They were like merciless.
Well, she's been merciless.
Well, nobody really takes her that seriously.
But
she's very popular, but nobody looks at her and like, oh, that's a scholar.
No, but
They
still...
blitzed the hell out of that girl. That's why I don't make any of the zeitgeist. I'm not gonna make a video on zeitgeist.
Why?
Because it's been clearly disproven. But I want to talk about the song.
Okay, talk about the song.
So what I was listening to it, I was actually disappointed. Like when they started showing the cars and stuff in the background, you could on the screens they were showing cars and stuff. You missed it, but they were showing cars, and I was like, ah. Because at the beginning, you're just the earth and the molecules are coming together and all this, and then here we go with our cars. I'm like, fucking shit up. Of course, there's nothing wrong with cars. Cars are awesome, and it's human ingenuity, and we were supposed to exercise dominion. So, so I get it. It's just I don't know. It's like
the wonder and the beauty of creation, and then
I think that's why I like
headlights.
Right? Yeah, I think that's why I like Genesis so much. You know, it's like I'm very, very fascinated with like the early human existence period. Early existence period is extremely fascinating to me. And I miss that time period, as it were. So it's like then the car is just very, very intrusive. Okay, so it starts off with the first sunrise on a pristine Gaia, which Gaia is, the Earth.
Okay.
And there is that hypothesis that the Earth itself is self-conscious. I think Metal Elitist did a whole show on that perspective. He believes that the entire Earth is self-conscious.
Do you think that the Earth has any consciousness?
No, I don't believe the Earth is self-conscious. Of course, if you do believe the Earth is self-conscious, then that poses serious problems for my vegan friends, doesn't it? No, I'm being serious there. So on a pristine Gaia...
How can you feel connections with the Earth, then?
What do you mean?
Do you feel connections with the earth?
Yeah, I feel connected to the earth. That's because we were taken out of the earth to be formed. There's a lot of reasons that we can feel connected to the earth. And I think what a lot of people mistake for feeling connected to the earth is it's feeling connected to the creator of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I think that the God who made the tree haunts the forest, and they're feeling that because he's there, but they go, oh, this tree.
Yeah. I feel like that the earth does have some consciousness.
Yeah,
I don't, not consciousness as in human being consciousness.
You're one of
but-
those people.
What do you mean one of those people?
You're just a hippie astral. We were listening to that astral projection thing yesterday, and like it was clearly demonic. And then like you start following the instructions for how to astral project.
No, because
I'm like,
I wasn't-
okay, next thing, fucking hippie.
Stop it! I wasn't trying to ask or whatever. I just was confused.
Come
at
get
what
your
he was saying.
girl.
They were like said like you put your hand like
You
a
were
certain
following
way.
you are following the
you
instructions.
try to fall asleep, and then as you're falling asleep, like you're gonna feel. I'm like what? That didn't even make any sense to me. So I wanted to see what they were talking about. I want to understand. I don't want to do that. I don't want to see no demons, no demonic. What they were explaining. No, please.
So pristine guy.
But
So
yes,
you think
I
the
am.
earth is self-conscious?
I don't know if it's self-conscious.
So in the Psalms, when it says the trees will clap their hands, you believe
The rocks
that
will cry out.
you believe that's literal.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. I think that like Louis Giglio did this thing where like everything like the sounds that the world makes around you, like it like really sounds really beautiful when you like slow it all down and put it all together and hear it all at once.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, like I think that I don't know. I feel like that I could be completely. I'm not saying there's anything in the Bible really that like would support my thoughts. It's probably just a feeling that I have. I just feel like that the earth is conscious in ways. I don't know. But not conscious like we are. But like, I don't know. I feel like even the earth knows who its creator is. But the earth would have to be conscious to know that.
Like dirt and rocks? Like a rock knows that he was made?
No. I don't know. I don't really, maybe I mean the earth as a whole.
What do you mean the earth
Mother
is a whole?
Earth, I don't know.
That's Gaia. Christine Gaia.
No, I'm going to hell.
Opus perfectum. Somewhere there, us sleeping. So it's like just the boom.
Good Lord.
And we're sleeping in there because whatever we evolved from, according to this view of the world, is so we're in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Billions of years ago. And I'm pretty sure this is Dawkins again.
Maybe I'm just confusing the consciousness on the earth with the consciousness of the earth. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I feel like trees are very special. Okay.
Well, trees. Okay.
But trees are living.
There's a lot of things.
So that's why, like, when you said a rock, I'm like, well, not a rock, but.
So everything living is sentient, is what you're saying.
I don't know, babe. I really don't know.
Well, it's an actual hypothesis. People really believe that. After sleeping through 100 million years, we finally open our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and an enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun to work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it? You know what I like about this song is that I was thinking to myself, the kids are going to have to study this for homeschool. Mm-hmm. Like when we really, really dig into science and all that shit.
Yeah.
Am I going to teach the kids evolution? Absolutely. Whether I agree with conclusions or not is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. They need to know, and they need to know people's mindsets about stuff. But so here are what he's saying. Again, he's attaching a bunch of meaning to our lives by saying we've been asleep for 100 millions of centuries because the basic whatever of what we evolved in was there at some point. And so we finally opened our eyes and we're only going to be around for a few decades. So within that time, isn't it a noble thing to understand the universe from whence we came and to figure out how we woke up?
Yeah.
Of course, the concept of nobility doesn't mean anything. That's a made-up word. If there really is no God, then there really is no nobility.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It's just another way to try to
Yeah.
drudge up some meaning.
Yeah.
in a world that you believe is completely meaningless, supposedly, as you arrange words in a purposeful, logical manner to communicate that nothing was ever arranged in a purposeful, logical manner. Okay. But yeah, but it's not, I'm not trying to, it's just, to me, anytime I hear these guys wax so poetic, and they're extremely articulate and erudite speakers, and they've got a mastery of the English language,
Yep.
I just think to myself, this works if you concepts like nobility and exploration and understanding, like what he's talking about here, and where scientists, Christian scientists back in the day that were talking about, let's think God's thoughts after him, because from a biblical perspective, it's the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to search it out. And that's where these early Christian, like Newton, Isaac Newton, like they all had this perspective that God had hidden these mysteries in the world, and that they could uncover them, and that it was a glorious thing to uncover these mysteries. That's a Christian idea. So it works from our worldview. I just don't understand if you're saying that you're just a random, purposeless, meaningless, ultimate. I'm talking about ultimate issues here. You ultimately have no purpose. You ultimately have no meaning. I'm not talking about the substrata of meaning that you've created out of but what I'm saying is you objectively have no meaning, and you objectively have no purpose. Then words like nobility don't mean anything.
Yeah.
You just make it up and whatever, but there's no way to ultimately say anything is noble or anything like that. So it's just like, I always say, if you catch somebody in an unguarded moment and what they talk about is completely contrary to their worldview, then I don't really believe they believe it.
Right.
I just don't believe you believe it. But anyway, I thought that was beautiful, and I think he's right. I think it is noble and enlightened to go and figure out all the ways in which that we were brought here, because I don't believe that Genesis 1 is a science dissertation. It's a theological statement.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And probably a polemic against Babylonian and Egyptian theology. But it's not science. And so I think science is exciting, and understanding, all that shit is very, very exciting. But anyway, okay. So then the next phase is the cosmic law of gravity. Pulled the newborns around a fire, a careless cold infinity in every vast direction. What is it? I think it was Dawkins that said cold indifference.
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah, he's got that famous line where he talks about, that the universe is basically ultimately just cold indifference. I'm going to Google it right now. Go ahead and talk.
I don't have it. I already said all my piece at the beginning.
Where is it?
Nothing else to say.
Where's the quote? I'm pretty sure it was Dawkins.
Stand by.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered reading it in like one of those books that I read like a long
Pitiless
time ago.
indifference is what he said. Sorry. The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. Wow. So there's no evil, there's no good. There's nothing but blind, meaning, there's no purpose to anything.
Yeah.
It's just, So this is the same guy. But see, he won't say this shit in this beautiful... They were not going to quote this shit in that beautiful song.
No. Yeah. No.
You're just blind, piddly. There is no purpose. There's no design. This is the universe we observe. So this is the thing. It's like, on the one hand here, he's saying this real beautiful shit about existence and isn't it noble and enlightened and all this flowery shit. And I'm like, damn. But this is the same motherfucker that said that it's just blind, pitiless, purposeless indifference. Okay. Okay. Quote that in a song. You need Cradle of Filth to do that song. But anyway, The cosmic law of gravity. But of course, again, it's like there's no purpose, there's no design.
Right.
And so he had to purposely put all those letters and words together to tell us that there's really ultimately no purpose or design.
Right.
And then these guys had to ingeniously create this song with all the notes and blended together and
I know.
and all that to
And
tell
that-
us that
that
there's
quote-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that quote had to be put online in a certain place so you could find it just now by using
I know.
typing.
I know. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Okay. But see, this is more closer to the truth of. This is more to the center.
Of what they
That
actually
quote
believe.
right here,
Blind, pitiless.
the bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. Like, that is ground zero of the implication of that worldview.
Yep.
They want to live in the Nightwish world.
Right.
Which is a beautiful world to live in.
Right.
They don't want to live in this world.
Right.
But this is the ultimate. Like, this is the objective. See, what's happening is, with this Dawkins quote right here is the objective reality that they're in. And then the Nightwish version of Dawkins is the subjective sort of meaning that he wants to pour into the world to distract himself from the objective, meaningless and pitiless indifference that really exists. So, you know, here he's talking about objective reality. In the Nightwish thing, he's just getting philosophical and nice, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that nobody really lives the way that he claims
That he talks, yeah.
that he claims that he believes. Anyway, a careless, cold infinity in every vast direction. Lonely fair in the Goldilocks zone. She has a tale to tell. From the stellar nursery into a carbon feast. Enter Luca. Luca is the something common ancestor. So you know, like evolution is about common ancestry. Luca stands for something common ancestor. So the least something common ancestor, like the smallest. It's like the single cell molecule thingamajiggy from which all of us, you know, came from or whatever. So when she says enter Luca, that's what it's talking about. It's like
I see.
all these billions and billions of years and gravity pulling everything together, and then you enter like the Goldilocks zone, which is like the place where like life has the best shot at you know, being, and then boom.
Yep.
So when you say things like the you know, when creationists say like the world is like perfectly constructed for life, how could this happen randomly? Well, they go, well, we had billions of years, so you had billions of opportunities, and it just so happened that you entered in the whatever. Then it goes to the tapestry of chemistry. There's a writing in the garden leading us to the mother of all. Ooh. Whoo! We are one. We are the universe. I guess from that perspective, you'd actually have to say that we're the actual universe in a sense. Because there's nothing within us that's not from the universe.
Yeah.
It's not like we're a separate creation from the universe in these people's mindset.
Right.
So I do think it would be accurate to say that, yeah, we're one. We are the universe. You know, a day-to-day new opening for the greatest show on earth. So like they're celebrating they're celebrating existence, but not creation. So the very fact that something exists is what they're trying to celebrate.
Yep.
I'm calling bullshit. Look. Welcoming the outside world to the stuff of stars, bedding the tree of a biological holy. Enter life. I don't think that it's possible for human beings to consider the existence of things and not go into worship. And to me, this seems like an act of worship, and they're purposely trying to negate God from it.
Yeah. Because
the creation is so fucking fascinating that when you really sit back and look at the grandeur of everything, you don't have a choice. So we don't show up till like the very end of the song, which is the same thing Avenged Sevenfold did. Like human beings don't really show up till the very like last chunk of the song. which is appropriate.
That's what they believe. They believe the majority of this world was without us, right?
Well, so does the Bible. Man didn't get created until the 6th day. So we're the last thing.
Yeah, but most people believe that it was only 6 days, so you wouldn't say the majority of the world like it was thousands or billions of years.
What do you mean most people?
Most Christians.
I don't know that that's true.
Well, all the Christians I've ever known in the
You know a
places
very
I've
small
been.
segment of Christianity. Augustine, Aquinas, they were all saying that they all had that in their heads.
That it was
That it could have been ages and aeons, is what Augustine said. I think
most
is the
people
actual quote.
nowadays do most Christians.
What I'm saying
nowadays?
is you have a very small slice of what Christianity is,
Well, yeah, I'm going by the people
and
that
it's extremely unique in church history. It's not your brand of Christianity is not the norm for church history, and probably will die in 1,000 years. Whereas Augustine will still be around. But so here's humankind. After a billion years, the show is still here. Not a single one of your fathers died young. The handy travelers out of Africa, little Lucy of the Afar. Yeah, there you go. Gave birth to fantasy, to idolatry, to self-destructive weaponry. That's interesting. So we showed up, and then enter all the fantasy and the idolatry, which, from that perspective, I think that's an ironic term of idolatry. I think they just mean religion.
Oh, okay.
Because idolatry is the worship of a false god. But if there is no god, then all religion is idolatry in that sense.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And it's all just fantasy. And then to self-destructive weaponry. Right? So it's like...
Yeah, but if you have idolatry, doesn't that mean that you should be worshiping something else, but instead you're going after something else? So what do they think you should be?
Well, I think they're using the term idolatry in an ironic sense. If you say that idolatry is a worship of a false god, and then you say there are no gods, then everybody's committing idolatry.
Right.
Basically, is the idea.
Yep.
So then we start creating self-destructive weaponry. Enter the god of gaps deep within the past, atavistic dread of the hunted. So it's like, so then human beings started, having divine explanations for things they couldn't understand. So they didn't understand the weather cycle. So there's a weather god, and there's a this, and so the god of the gaps is basically you put God into anything that you can't understand.
I see.
Of course, which is not biblically what we're supposed to do. If I look at a rainbow and I see all the rest of it, that and molecules and light and all the rest of it, I don't go, well, shit. There's the what the Bible says about rainbows isn't true. No, because we believe that God created the physical laws of the universe.
Right.
So the idea of the God of the gaps, it's you're just using divine explanation for things that you can't explain, not realizing that from a divine worldview, whether science can explain it or not doesn't negate the fact that God did it. So
It's weird because they have gaps in their way of thinking too.
well, of course they do, and what they do is they'll say, well, science will explain it eventually, which is it's the same shit that we say. But deep within the past, atavistic dread of the hunted, and so like so then humanity created God to explain things that we couldn't explain, and also to give us a sense of protection from being hunted, because it was a cold world out there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like,
No.
being a caveman or whatever, and a saber-toothed tiger was coming after you? So like you invented this kind of God character to kind of watch over you. Of course, what they don't talk about is the fact that, and Peterson explained this very, very well, is if you look at the ancient Near East, the real issue was never who will protect you from the saber-toothed tiger, it was who will protect you from your gods.
Right.
The gods were the ultimate predators in the
Right.
ancient Near East.
Yeah.
I was watching reading this fascinating article as it was about these Inca bodies that were discovered, and they had been sacrificed, and it was this girl, she was about 14 years old, and then these two kids that were sacrificed with her, because they were sacrificed to appease the gods.
Yeah, I read stuff like that too.
You had a better shot with the saber-toothed tiger than with the gods. The gods didn't give you a sense of security and safety at all. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite, because you could forge weapons and fight the saber-toothed tiger.
You couldn't
but
fight the will of the gods.
The gods were omnipotent. You couldn't do anything
Nope.
against their power. And so
Nope.
the best you could do is sacrifice to them.
Right.
And they always demanded,
Blood.
the blood and human sacrifice and shit.
Right.
So the gods didn't give people a sense of security at all.
And as you know, things go wrong in life, and then anytime things went wrong, that was like, oh, we have to appease the gods again.
Well, yeah. That's a flaw. That just shows that people are not familiar with ancient Near Eastern religion, or ancient religion, period. But of course, people could only say that because they're familiar with the Christian God,
Right.
who is a father and
Right.
loving and caring and watches over people.
Right.
But Yahweh was the exception and not the rule in the ancient Near East. Okay. So there it is right there, the cradle of thought, the architecture of understanding, the human lust to feel so exceptional and to rule the earth. So this is a direct, I was listening to Metal Elitist, and he's like, we're not supposed to rule the earth. He just said it so definitively. He's a contrary to popular belief. We have no right to rule the earth, he says.
Right?
So this is a direct contradiction of Genesis 1, right? Where it says, be fruitful. Where God having the conversation, the Father and the Son having a conversation with each other, saying, let us make man and cause him to rule over the earth. And this is saying, no, that's just your human lust.
Well, I think that probably he misunderstands what we were supposed to do when we ruled the earth. Like, we weren't supposed to, start abusing the animals and stuff like we're doing now. Like, we're supposed to care for the animals. So, I mean, he cares for his cats. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of ruling the earth. You know what I mean? What? Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I agree. I just think conceptually they're categorically they're against
Yes.
the idea that human beings are supposed to rule the earth. It's a complete rejection of that, because and on top of it, it's you want to feel so special. So Genesis 1:26, where because in Genesis 1:26, what you have is you have the value of a human being that separates them from animals, because you're created in the image and likeness of God.
Yeah.
And then you have a purpose for human beings, which is to rule the world, because it says, let them exercise dominion.
Right.
So those are the two major questions that we've been trying to figure out as human beings: is what is my value, and do I have a purpose? And the Bible says yes. Your value is your locus of your value is the fact that you're created in the image of God, and now your purpose is, because you're in the image of God, you're supposed to basically operate as God would on the earth, which is to rule and exercise dominion. But if you go with the previous doctrines, which is just blind, pitiless indifference, and there is no, you just made that up, bruh.
Right.
So if you jump into the atheist universe and go, you aren't supposed to rule the earth. What are you talking about? You just made that shit up. Which of course is an implication from your grounding worldview. So yeah, I think that and then it goes down to hunger for shiny rocks. Diamonds, like we do all this type of shit. We kill each other just
For giant mushroom clouds,
and then giant mushroom clouds.
Yeah.
They will, the will to do just as you'd be done by. Enter history, the grand finale. Enter rat kind. So we basically inherited this beautiful earth on accident, but then due to our, and it's interesting because like there's a connection between religion and destructiveness, which is. The 20th century doesn't say that, but whatever. But then here we come, and we're going to destroy this earth with the, we're the only organism that has the potential to destroy the planet. And that's pretty interesting from their view of the world. It's pretty ironic.
Yeah.
And then, we're going to basically usher in the grand finale, and we're going to destroy ourselves, and all that's going to be left is going to be rats. I was watching this show one time, and he said the roaches will inherit the earth because they're like basically indestructible.
Yeah,
and they've been around for millennia.
Right.
Man took his time in the sun. He had a dream to understand a single grain of sand. Like our knowledge of what we know compared to what's happening in the universe is just like all we know is a single grain of sand.
Yep.
Like compared to what's out there to actually know, which is very, very true. And then the song ends by saying, "We were here." At the end of the day, we were here, we made it. And of course, Dawkins tries to add some meaning to what it means that we were here. But when I look at the other Dawkins, it's not very compelling.
No, it's not.
That is a beautiful, beautiful statement right there, what he said. And of course, from a Christian worldview, I mean, it's fraught with a bunch of purpose. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. But then when I combine that with your blind, pitiless, purposeless, no good or evil indifference there, Mr. Dawkins, it all turns into hooey. But man, what an amazing, amazing song. I loved seeing it live.
Oh,
I loved seeing it. I loved all those people.
For sure, yeah.
I
It wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't live.
I just love human beings. They're so amazing. So amazing. No, you always say that I love. Don't you love human beings?
I do, but not like you do. I can like go through phases where I'm like see them as like rats and maggots, like where like it's just too much. People just become too much.
Really?
Yeah. They're not always like a wonder to me. Sometimes they're an irritation. People annoy me. Yeah. Is that you want me to tell you the truth or lie to you? Oh no, every day I think people are wonderful. I'm happy
it's apparent to me that people are like that.
People that get on my nerves, and especially when somebody continually commits the same crime against me over and over, and then
that's the same crime.
Yeah, I'm being vague on purpose.
Oh! Are you thinking?
When I have to keep dealing with the same thing over and over, I get very, very annoyed. And like, don't come to me with your pity. I'm sorry. Like you're like because it's not. You're not. You're really not. Obviously. So it gets on my nerves.
Yeah. Wow. Good thing you're not God.
No, I never said I should be God. I would make a terrible God.
All right. Okay.
Because honestly, I would have created people so I didn't have to deal with their bullshit. Like they would have been like, all their tickers would have been only on good. I might have made a couple of bad ones just for entertainment. Yeah, I would have been a terrible God.
You're a terrible person. You'd have made a couple bad people for entertainment, okay?
Yeah, I would have.
All right.
You can't have everything be all good. That'd be too boring.
No, goodness is not boring at all.
I'm saying if I was God, I would want to see a little...
Maybe you are God, and that's why everything is the way that it is. Maybe all this is entertainment to you.
You're ridiculous. No, like when I see... Like, it can't be all bad, either. Because that's when I'm like, ugh, people, man.
Wow.
Like when people like just all together, like just doing gross things. Like we saw that video one time, it's like a bunch of bodies all oh, gross.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Brilliant song. I think they used Dawkins very brilliantly. Definitely this is a must listen to for the kids. Because, science class, all that sometimes can be boring, but if I'm thinking about ways to like incorporate all this stuff into like a really, this is the soundtrack to some thing that I'm thinking about in my head for the kids to learn. It's going to be awesome. Maybe we'll have Alec shoot a couple of videos.
That's what I was thinking.
Alec can tell the kids that they're purposeless and meaningless and all that.
Pitiful little lives.
Yeah, and then make a 21-minute song that's full of meaning and purpose. I love you guys. I do. I just think that there's
some flaws in the...
There's some flaws. There's some chink in the armor. Some chinks in the armor. But damn, what an amazing song. What an amazing show. Amazing people.
Was it the greatest
it's a 10
show
for me.
On Earth?
It's a 10 for me. And I love that she was really, really rocking. Like it was some windmill metal shit.
Yep.
Like she's rocking. She to me is probably in the modern era the greatest stage person.
Oh yeah.
She's like a god. Like when she was hugging her teammates and stuff, I was like, oh, look at her coming down.
And she's so tall.
From
so
Mount
make it
Olympus
look more
with her
like,
boots and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more she's looking down upon them.
Yeah. Oh, and Tomas, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. She's perfect fit for. Like I always get confused when these people like compare her to the other one.
I literally don't understand. I feel like it's very emotional. And you know what I was thinking? Like, I wonder if she ever gets scared, like, walking out there. Because, like, crazy fans.
Yeah, she looks like somebody that people would be very... You're like that, too. If you were featured in some big band and shit, people would be very, very obsessive about you. Pajal.
No, I'm saying, like, if I was her, I would have been worried, like, you know, sometimes, like, when they switch it, because, like, some people are very upset about Flora, and I feel like that is really an emotional thing, because she's so much better, in my opinion, than the other people.
I think Taria.
Yeah. So I'm like, I wonder if she's ever worried that somebody's gonna get, like, crazy and, you know, get violent or something.
Yeah.
Like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
Does that come into her mind when she walked out on that thing by herself? That's what I was thinking.
Maybe
I'm like,
if we interview her, we'll talk to her about it.
Yeah.
Or she might not say anything about it, in which case we'll know.
Yep. Anyway.
But, yeah, it's a 10 for me.
Oh.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful show.
It was right up there. I was, like, hovering around a 9.8.
What could have made the song
that's
better?
what I'm asking myself. I'm like,
The 21-minute song that you didn't feel was 21 minutes.
Yeah,
Look,
I guess.
Darkness has now fallen on us because you're even considering that this is anything other than a 10. I think it's because you're a little jealous. You're a little jealous of Floor.
You're ridiculous.
I think that's what it is.
I guess it probably is a 10. I think, you know what, I think I'm docking it from this long-ass review after. I'm sick of sitting here, to be honest with you. So it probably was a 10 when the song finished.
I saw a review of the song. It was 24 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? The thing was 21. It was a 21-minute song, and your review is 24 minutes. Let's talk about this epic song. I don't think they wrote this song like, yeah, you know, people think about this for 3 fucking minutes.
Right. Well, I think that.
I mean, I don't think they're gonna see this review, but it doesn't matter. Like, they put a lot of effort and work into the song, so.
Okay, it's a 10.
The length of a review reflects that.
It's a 10.
People are too lazy.
I can't dock it because our review was so long.
21 minutes long.
Okay.
Vin out.
Sorry, Al.
Gone.
To care for the good, one